Three-point lighting is one of the more common, if not the most common way to light subjects in Blender or in the real world for that matter. To do it, we require 3 lights in total. These are a key light, a fill light, and a rim light. Each of these lights plays its own role, but let's dive into Blender so I can show you what I mean. Alright, so here we have a simple scene with just a Suzanne in it, and we are going to give that some nice lighting. First of all, let's add in our camera here, and I'm just going to go in orthographic front view with numpad 1, Shift A, camera, there we go, Control Alt numpad 0 to align it to the view. I'm just going to say this and that looks fine to me. So we're just going to use this front facing camera because that's an easy way to sort of visualize what each of these lights individually does in a 3-point light setup. For now, let's leave our camera view here. And one neat little trick that is kind of handy to know is that if you go into Edit Preferences and get extensions, that's part of the new extensions library, part of Blender 4.2, you can look up something called TriLighting. There it is. And you can install that if you want to. Simply click install. It should install it like that. And from now on, if you go Shift A, light, you should see something called 3-point lights. This works if you have an object in the scene. So you go light, 3-point lights. And with the object selected, it automatically adds 3 lights, which are targeted towards our object. So this is a very, very quick way to add in these lights. And they also have the right naming. So, this makes life a whole lot easier. Tri-lamp back, tri-lamp fill, and tri-lamp key. So from a top perspective, let's just quickly go over how to place these lights, sort of. Obviously, a lot of this is up to artistic interpretation, but generally speaking, this is how you would look at it, right? So the backlight going from the camera here usually goes towards the back of our object. So if our camera is, whoop, that's a very skewed line. If our camera is going in this direction, the backlight is going anyway from like this or like this. It doesn't really matter as long as sort of the light that it's creating is obscured by the object. So it's creating this sort of rim lighting. Now, technically using this setup, it's called the back lamp or the backlight, but in a proper 3-point lighting setup, it's usually called a rim light. So let's just rename it to rim light. As long as we know what we mean with that, it's fine. Okay, next up, we have our fill light and we have our key light. So our key light over here is mainly creating the main lighting for the object, and our fill light is there to lessen the harsh shadows, if you will. And we'll go into the camera view now with numpad 0 so you can actually see what I mean with that. So let's go into render view. We're using cycles as of now, and I'm just going to go into the world settings and make that all black so we don't have any other light in our scene. Now let's select the key light first of all, and let's just disable the rim and the fill light. So this is our key light, and it's coming from sort of top right angle here, and it's creating light on our monkey. Now it's way too soft, so I'm just going to go into the light settings here. Let's just crank this up to a large number, maybe something like 250. That could be too much. Let's see what we want to go with. 150 maybe. Yeah, that looks fine. Now, as you can see, doing this, we have created some really hard shadows on the sides here. And these shadows, although nice and drastic, are sort of occluding parts of our model here. And that's where the fill light comes into play. The fill light is there to sort of fill in these dark areas and make sure that we can actually see the entire object, although we still want some contrast with the light and the shadow here. So let's enable our fill lamp here. And I'm just going to go put that maybe something like that. And we're just going to go increase the strength there. Now, we definitely don't want this to be as strong. So I'm just going to go scale this up, tone it down a little bit, maybe move it to the side a little bit more, make it a little bit smaller, something like that, make it a little bit softer still. And this is clearly where you see the fill light in action, right? So with the fill light off, the whole left side of the monkey is incredibly dark. It's black, and because the background is black as well, it's sort of transitioning into the background. You're not seeing the entire shape. And with the fill light, however, we're getting back this entire part of the object. Now, finally, we have the rim light, and that's the one at the back here. And let's just select that one. And I'm just going to point it somewhere like this. I'm also going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm actually going to increase the strength a whole lot because we want that nice rim lighting going on. Let's see what we can do. Something like this. Now, to visualize what the rim lighting is actually doing, let's just turn off our fill and key lights here. And there you can very, very clearly see it. This is what the rim lighting is doing, right? It's creating these rims, these edges of light, these highlights that are contouring our shape and adding nice definition to it. Now, I would like this to basically catch the whole right half of the monkey here. I'm also going to make it stronger still. I think something like this could be quite nice. Yeah, that's a pretty nice rim light. Now, looking from the back, it's completely blowing up our object, but that's not an issue at all because we're looking at it from the camera angle. So we're setting up our lights to make sense from the camera angle too. All right, so if we now re-add our key light and our fill light, this is what we end up with. And let me just turn on denoising here. That's a pretty nice overall 3-point lighting setup. We can still tone down some of these lights to make the contrast a little less harsh. There you go. A bit more dramatic on the left side there, lowering the fill light strength, overall lowering the key light strength so we get more of that rim lighting visible. And yeah, that's a very simple 3-point light setup. But this is just the Suzanne model. Let's now look at the initial model that I showed at the beginning of this video as a more practical example of what to do. All right, so over here we have this really neat boombox, and I've added the same lighting setup. I've done it manually this time around, and let's just look at the lights individually for starters so you can see what's going on, right? So we start with the key light again. This is lighting up the entire object to show most of it through the light this is creating. So we're getting all of the knobs, we're getting the speakers, we're getting some of the details here, the sticker there. There's a bunch of details showing up through the key light, but we're also losing details here. So the mesh type of look that we had for the speaker, which you can clearly see on the right side here, is completely gone on the left side. Same for this left part of the boombox here. It's gone because it's too dark. So we add in a fill light. If we turn off the key light, you can clearly see what the fill light is doing. Again, it's creating a bit of fill lighting, making the shadows less hard. So without the fill light, we're getting really hard shadows here as well. Hard shadows here, hard shadows here. With the fill light, we're filling in those shadows, making things a little less drastic and more subtle, which feels more natural overall. And it's just a better, more pleasing result to look at. And then finally, we have our rim light. Again, this is a very, very hard light from the back here, a big one, as you can see, and we're using that to create some rim lighting. Again, if we turn off the fill and key light, you can see what the rim light is doing. It's creating a nice rim on the antenna here, on the handle, a bit on the edges here, and overall contouring our shape really, really nicely. And together, these three lights make a very simple yet professional look for basically anything you want to light in this method. It could be people, it could be products. It doesn't really matter what you light in this way. A 3-point light setup almost always works. So definitely start using this method. Keep on trying to make it better and better. Don't be afraid to increase the power of your rim lights by a lot to create nice, harsh rim lighting. And overall, make sure your fill light is not too hard, yet your key light is there to light the total subject. That's 3-point lighting, and let's move on to the next lighting method.